Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this joint meeting of the City of High Springs City Commission and the Alachua County County Commission. We appreciate you all coming out and joining us in High Springs. We're going to start with an invocation by Commissioner Byron Williams, followed by the pledge.
Let us pray. Most gracious God, as we come now to discuss the business of this city and the county, God, we just ask you to just be in the midst of everything said and done, God. Just lead us and guide us. Bless us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, God, that we can do what's best for the community. In your sweet holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, with that, I'm going to hand the gavel over to the Chair of the County Commission, Mary Alford.
Hi, thank you all for... Okay, there we go. All right. Hi, thank you all for joining us at this joint meeting. I hope this meeting is a good opportunity for you to learn more about how we're working together with High Springs, and we'd love to hear what you have to say about issues that the county can help you with. So without further ado, if I could get a motion for an adoption of the agenda. Motion to adopt the agenda. Would you guys like to make a mirror motion for that?
So moved.
All right. Second?
All right, so we have motions and a second for the adoption of the agenda. Is there any public comment to the agenda? Seeing none, any commission comment to the agenda? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. We're good.
First item for discussion is youth literacy. Do we have Alice? Have someone presenting something on youth literacy, or was this just something that we talk about? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Well, I know that we talked about, you guys wanted to discuss what the commission was doing in Alachua County, but we were also going to share with you some of the things that we're doing here in High Springs. Is Ann Lane here by any chance from the library? No. There's a lady named Ann Lane who brings her therapy dog to our public library here every other week for children's opportunity to read to a dog. And it's absolutely magical, the transformation that you can see when a child who, when they meet you, they stutter, and when they're reading to a dog, they're completely at peace, and it's amazing. And it's been incredibly impactful here, and hopefully that might take off.
Yes, Commissioner Prezia.
I guess I just wanted to mention, we have been collaborating with the Children's Trust, and Ken can talk more about what they've been up to, and working towards a comprehensive literacy assessment for Alachua County it's sort of a needs assessment. It'll look across the entire county, including all the municipalities, so we'll definitely need your participation. I will gather data on what's already being done, where the gaps are, where the needs are, and then that will help us to craft, ultimately, the idea is to create a comprehensive literacy plan for the county in collaboration with the school board and the Children's Trust. But not just for children's literacy, also for adult literacy, but to begin to address the education gaps in literacy that we're seeing across the board in Alachua County. So I think we sent a letter to that effect it's been a long, long time ago now. It's probably been over a year ago now about that effort. But it's started in earnest now. The consultant is on board where we're partnering with the Lassinger Center out of the University of Florida, and they're conducting that needs assessment.
There's a group in Alachua County also known as Gator Paws, and they have therapy dogs, emotional support dogs that they'll bring to all kinds of different places that may be willing to partner as well. I know at our school here, we had Justice, who was a canine that went to school with that gentleman right back there. And she was just recently retired, and my youngest, who is here, was in a fifth grade class with a young man who was on the spectrum, first time in a classroom ever. And the connection that he was able to make with that canine was just incredible. So even the impact in the schools, when the school board got all of the ESSER funding and they were asking for input on what we should do, of course I wrote to them and said, I'd really love it if you'd think about getting dogs in some of the elementary school libraries for those who are willing to consider that, because the dogs are non-judgmental and they're safe. So I would encourage anybody to come here to the High Springs Library when they're here to watch. It's amazing.
Sounds like an incredible program. Commissioner Cornell, do you want to talk any at all about what the?
I'll just add a little bit to what Commissioner Prizia said. You know, the Children's Trust and even the library district, you've got some members on the library board that, you know, is heavily vested in High Springs Library. But the Children's Trust is very invested in trying to reach out to the smaller municipalities. Hopefully you've heard from Ms. Kiner with the Children's Trust and some of the programs that we are focused on and really trying to do outreach to not just the center core of the city of Gainesville, but to all of the municipalities, especially in High Springs, Alachua, Newberry, Archer, Micanopy, Waldo. And so it's a big priority of the Children's Trust, and they see that we see the need. So thanks for putting it on the agenda.
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler.
Just very quickly to add to what the library system is offering, they also have a literacy department, and in Gainesville, I don't know if we reached this far out, but it's for adults, the adult literacy program, and it's for folks who are working on trying to pass GED tests or, you know, certain tests that they need to take in order to get certified for a profession, but also people from out of the area who are non-English speakers. And so I don't know if that is something that is used here in High Springs or not, but we could certainly find out from our school, from our library board, if those services are extended outside of Gainesville. But they're for adults too. You know, we have big programs. And the summer camps, too, they have summer activities. And I'm sure here in High Springs, too, there's summer activities for kids that, you know, on these hot days when a kid wants to get into someplace cool, that there are also enrichment activities, too, that the library's offering. I know there's a wide range there. We're on that board, and we see regularly, you know, what that staff is doing for the whole county. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there, do any of your commission members have any comments? Are there any public comments about literacy? Anyone want to share anything or comment?
Good evening, Sue Weller. I just wanted to let you know that our library here in High Springs had Gentle Carousel here yesterday for the children in reading with them, with those little miniature horses.
Oh, how fun.
So that's a great group.
All right, we'll move on to the next item, the city's proposed infrastructure surtax partnership projects update. So,
The infrastructure surtax, we've obviously goes towards our infrastructure, and we were able to buy, I don't remember how many pumps, 6 pumps.
At least 6.
For redundancy for the lift stations. And we were operating with 1 pump, and if they went out, obviously the lift station would back up. So for redundancy, we used the surtax to purchase redundancy pumps for that. We have some other projects that we have been without a public works director, and we just got a permanent one, so I paused the projects until we got a new public works director to give feedback and head up the project management for any of those projects.
Do you mind if I mention what we were talking about in terms of potential matching funds?
That's what, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
right,
ask. Yeah.
right. Well, we've got a rather large subdivision coming in over the next 10 or 20 years, and they're going to be putting purple pipe in the ground. We don't have reuse anywhere in High Springs, but we are going to need to engineer to design the hookup. Obviously, the developer is going to bring the pipe out to the development. We're going to have to be able to pipe the effluent back to them. And the city manager's been looking at, I don't know how many different grant opportunities, but certainly grants normally don't cover engineer design work. So that's something we're going to need to look at so that we can, we're in the process of building a second wastewater treatment plant right now, and we're migrating from spray field irrigation of the effluent to infiltrated wetlands, and which is good. But we also have sinkholes out here, so we're dealing with that as well. And if we can do anything to get any of that effluent away from the Santa Fe River and away from the springs back over to use as irrigation, we see that as a good thing. So that would be something potentially that we were looking at for partnering with the county to see if we could get some funding.
I know that in general there's been a move away from the utilization of reuse water, just in the idea of but in your case, I could see where that might be a different kind of a thing. So I'll be interested to hear how it moves forward with the Water Management District.
I've heard that same thing, in terms of, minimizing obviously the nitrogen that's going. And we've got 2 wetlands, and then we've even got a rib at the end of one of them. So I don't know, I don't know what the total contact time is going to be. I don't know much of anything about the final design, but in Newberry, not too long ago, they had a sinkhole open up in their effluent holding pond, and it sucked the entire liner in with it. That kind of stuff concerns me about here because of our karst geology here. We have sinkholes open up all over the place. So as much as we can divert that effluent away, I think it may be a universal good. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in what the Water Management has to say about that. But of course, it sounds like the kind of thing that we would certainly partner on with
Okay.
forward. Are there any other partnership projects that you're looking at for the future? Or,
That's the main one we've been talking about here lately. As the city manager just indicated, we're getting Public Works in order right now, and trying to get everything squared away, and we'll probably be able to identify. We had some resurfacing projects that were going on that we paused for a little bit to be able to get it all together. But certainly, the road issue is a big one for us. But we'll talk about that down at number 3. I don't want to get ahead of it.
all right. Do we have any additional comment on the city's proposed infrastructure surtax partnership projects? Or
Madam Chair?
Yes,
I just want to say, I think we have set aside partnership funding on both the infrastructure side and on the parks and natural areas side.
Right.
So there is, what is it, $333,333, something crazy on each side of the ledger for partnership projects with each of the municipalities. So if there are parks projects or projects that would qualify on the wild spaces, public places, sort of natural areas and parks type of project, those are also eligible.
Well, we
for
definitely need to
matching
do
funds.
something with our canoe outpost, which sounds like a great thing to maybe
That would be
partner
an
up with.
amazing partnership.
There's also the property that the county's got behind River Run subdivision off Old Boat Ramp Road. It's from you guys. It's like 88 acres that's set up for a county park over there. I don't know if there's any plans to do anything with that. And I think most of it's wetlands, but there is a portion of it, I think 8 acres is set up for, that's dry, that's allowed to be built on. It's all set for a county park.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Manager, could we ask Madam Manager if she happens to know if that's in our Parks Master Plan? Or maybe we could get an update to them if that's in our Parks Master Plan?
I would have to go back and look. I don't know every specific of the
Okay, well, we could definitely take a look, because it seems like that would be a great ideal location to collaborate on something, so.
Because that would actually that'd be one of the last places that would be county or city owned that would be able to touch the river like that. And so it'd be great to be able to get that, to
Vote.
kind of have an idea of what we could tell citizens we're going to do with it, or y'all are going to do with it, and maybe we can partner with you on some ideas and whatnot, and work together on seeing what we can bring to the table, because it's a ton of property. It'd be great.
River Rise Development and Boat Ramp
It's
Road.
off Old Boat Ramp Road, and it's behind the development.
Okay, great, thanks.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Yes, I would like to add to what Commissioner Tristan Grunder is saying. I lived above that, in that apartment for a couple of years and know that area really well, and worked real hard with Jim Wood to make sure that it stayed in High Springs' hands. And, yeah, for the canoe outpost. And it hurts my heart to see the chain on it right now. So, you know, anything that we can do to kind of get that activated again and moving along, you know, it would feel real good to me too, because I felt like that I encouraged Jim, you know, to make sure that we got it here and that we could keep it, you know, in service to High Springs. And then the tourists that come into this area, you know, High Springs is quite a magnet. And to have that here as a jewel in your crown, you know, is important to me as well as it is to High Springs. So anything that I can encourage this board to do to make sure that that is functioning well for High Springs and for all of us, I will certainly be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam Chair, if I may. We're waiting, I don't know when we're supposed to be getting a Parks Master Plan that had been worked on for the last year or so, and I don't think we've received the final report yet.
So we are about 3/4 of the way through it. Just spoke with the consultant last week, and next week we will probably be making an offer to a new Parks and Rec director who can provide their feedback on that, give them a chance to get in, get started with it, and the consultants on board to help finish that project up.
Okay. So that
That's
may help
exciting.
direct us a little bit more once we have that, because they put a lot of effort into it. But I'd like to echo what the Vice Mayor said in terms of the canoe outpost, because there's not a really safe way to get into the river there right now, and we need to do some work on there to make sure it's ADA compliant and people can get in there. And it'd be amazing to be able to use that again.
I'm really good with a hammer and a.
Oh, I'll be right there with you,
If you need me.
100%.
Madam Chair, if I could ask, if when you all do have that Parks Master Plan, if you wouldn't mind sharing it with us, and we can kind of look at how it dovetails with our Parks Master Plan and how coordinate on how we best look at this sort of general area with regards to your plan and ours. Thank you.
Yeah. If it becomes possible in the future to get the rail trail between High Springs and Newberry, I think, if that becomes possible, it would be really awesome to have that incled as a part of the discussion. I know everybody would love that.
I spoke to
And
Allison about that.
There's a lot of barriers to get there, but I've not given up hope, and I don't think other people have either. And the fact that CSX is talking now is, I think, a really good thing. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, I see that as like the ultimate joint project.
Would it be advantageous in terms of that particular project to get Jordan Marlowe and Newberry involved as a collaborative?
Yes.
Yes,
They weren't last
absolutely.
time.
Yeah. Oh, they weren't?
They were not.
expressly said they were not interested last
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I will reach out to Jordan Marlowe.
yeah, I think that's
I mean-
going to be key.
Yeah, Madam Chair, to the extent we had both cities, you know, engaged, and High Springs certainly was, that would really add a lot to any local matches that we could get either at the legislature and certainly locally with our program, and discussions with CSX. And the fact that they returned our call means it's back on the table, but like the chair said, it's a long ways away. But
Right.
if we had Newberry wanting to receive it, and obviously it initiates up here, because with y'all's work, I think that'd be very helpful.
And quite frankly, I think you guys reaching out is probably more effective than us reaching out.
Sure.
We both need to reach out, obviously, but
Right.
I really think that you reaching out as a shared city project
Okay.
would be really helpful.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah. Do we have any public comments on the infrastructure surtax partnership projects, or? Anything, any citizen would like to comment on that? Any further commission comment? Oh, there we go. Okay, sure.
Springs resident, and I'm just glad to hear about the canoe outpost, because I think that's a real shame to see that locked up. And I believe, is that the only property that the city owns that is riverfront? I just wanted to get confirmation. I wasn't sure about that, but regardless, I'm just glad to hear that you're all talking about that, because I think that that's a real asset to the city, and thank you. And also really excited to hear about Trails to Rails. That would be wonderful if we could get that back on the table. So wonderful here. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, you know, the county has invested a lot of money along the Santa Fe River in conservation land, because we see the Santa Fe River as, you know, so important to our water quality, to ecotourism, to the city of High Springs. Having that as a healthy, you know, wonderful place for folks to visit is huge in our county. So I think getting the canoe outpost would be an amazing project. So I'll just leave it at that. All right, we'll move on to transportation projects impacting the city of High Springs. And I do think we have someone here to talk about that. Yay.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, Jeff Hayes, Alachua County Growth Management. So we did put some items in your backup. The request was for any significant projects that were cycling through the MTPO or at the county that would have any impact on the city of High Springs. So the projects that we highlighted for you, we have 2 or 3 here. One is that we did receive a grant from the US DOT on the Safe Streets for All program. And that's a $350,000 grant that we are engaged in. It's about to kick off very soon, actually. That's basically, it's focused on safety for all users, so for automotive users as well as bicycles and pedestrians. And there's pretty significant community engagement as part of that, and so we'll be reaching out to the city to engage the city and their citizens as well. It's a countywide plan, so it involves all of the municipalities as well as the unincorporated area. So that's one project. The other project that's related is we are undertaking a countywide bicycle and pedestrian master plan. We have been working collaboratively with the City of Gainesville, the University of Florida, and now the MTPO is actually going to be kicking in the funding for that project. Once again, that will be a countywide plan, so it will involve all the municipalities, and there'll be community engagement as part of that. The budget for that is $254,000. We're about to engage with a consultant on that as well, to look for a prioritized list of bicycle and pedestrian projects. In terms of any statewide projects, so when we look at the FDOT's Transportation Improvement Program, really the only one of any import in the area is the resurfacing of US Highway 2741. That's basically from the city of Newberry to US 441. It's about 3.3 miles. That's an $11 million project that is scheduled for some time here. Well, it's in the 5-year work program. I'm not seeing the date. Oh, here we go. It's in 25-26, fiscal year 25-26. So that's a resurfacing project that FDOT is taking on. Those are the primary sort of capacity, safety, planning studies. Ramon is here as well to talk about any of the resurfacing projects that are on the county's resurfacing list. And with that, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Any questions for Jeff? Commissioner Wheeler?
I heard a rumor the other day that I had not heard before about a 4-laning between High Springs and Newberry. Had you heard that anywhere?
That is not something I'm familiar with. The only sort of capacity project like that is the One Way Pairs project in Newberry, but nothing between Newberry and High Springs that I'm aware of.
I just had not heard anything about that, and it was amazing that it was even considered. And because we were trying really hard to get a light there at Coast Springs Road, you know, a turn lane or something, and we're still working on that. But I think because of the way that we are reconfiguring our MPO that's going to change the way that the DOT works with us in terms of prioritizing these projects. Does that sound?
Right, I did want to mention that as well for the benefit of the city citizens, is that the county commission and the city of Gainesville at the last reappropriation of the MTPO have decided to make the MTPO a countywide organization. So you will see an interlocal agreement sometime in the near future from DOT and the MTPO staff that would get into how the city would participate in that organization.
Right, thank you.
And for the public, MTPO stands for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization. So, but which has historically just been the area right around Gainesville that was more densely populated, but we voted this past year to extend it to the entire county. We've also are considering operating the MTPO internal to the county instead of through the Regional Planning Council. Which is a separate conversation, but we think it might change how we operate with the state, which is what which the commissioner was alluding to. So,
Madam Chair, may I just finish up with the folks who've been watching to see if the light is going to actually come to the Post Springs Road? The DOT had not been getting the proper information in terms of the transfer of information in terms of load on that road, and also any hazards, any accidents, taking note of those. They had not been getting the full information that they needed in order to make the decisions about where it would last, but it's still there. It's just that there weren't enough crash incidents there to give it another source of funding. So right now, they're just looking at funding resources in order to put a light there or a turn lane to accommodate the roads. I just talked to David Tyler today.
Yeah, I was saying, are you saying the data wasn't there to support it, or that
It didn't get to
have-
them. It didn't get to them.
The data was not transmitting to DOT. They showed that we had no accidents at all. And Chief Shepherd and all of the police department have been working with DOT to get accurate data to them so they actually see that there's a demonstrated need. And that particular
that's-
intersection, especially on the weekends and at, high traffic times, it's profound. The number of miles that cars are going to back up down Post Springs Road. And people who know enough here will take a left onto 237th Street here on downtown, right through a residential area where there are no stop signs for 7 blocks, and it comes around to a curb and comes right into the brewery where there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, and it is just rife for problems. So, I mean, there's a couple of things going on there. I think we need some stop signs on 237th as well. But the traffic is just off it's amazing. And I don't know if we need a 4-way stop, if we need a light, but we definitely need something there.
Well, when they did that traffic study there, they did it in the middle of January, I think,
They should try Memorial Day
in the
weekend.
winter. Dead of winter. Dead of winter.
Madam Chair, do we know if 237th Street is a county road or a city road?
That's a city road.
City road,
That would be
okay.
a city
And you
road.
all are considering stop signs?
Well, we haven't talked about it yet, but I think it's got to be part of that conversation because of all of the traffic that comes right through it's a residential street, and nobody pays attention to the speed limit. I imagine the police could tell you more about the reality there. It's a great road, but it's just a lot of traffic coming through a small city street when you have high pedestrian traffic at the end of it, right after a bend in the road. It's troublesome.
And the traffic that's coming through town, people who are parked can't pull out or pull in. because of
Yes,
the
on
traffic
Main
that's
Street,
like-
that's
right.
another issue as well. We've got trucks that are still coming on State Road 27 or 2741. If they're going straight through into Newberry, it's not a huge deal, but when they're trying to make a right-hand turn from 27 to go south on 2741 or right to go out to 441, I've almost gotten clipped many, many times.
We had talked to the Fort White people too about the possibility of working with DOT to get a bypass around High Springs, to cut around so that it does not happen here. So it's been in the discussion, and they were trying to put it in a plan in Tallahassee as they came down from the North Florida Regional Planning. They were trying to assess the road needs. And so the mayor of Fort White might be someone to also engage with, because he was even to the point of annexing into Alachua County, you know.
Wow, wow.
That would be hard to do. Are
It's
there
kind
any-
of a joke, but we
Yeah.
did have that discussion.
Any further comments on transportation projects? Oh, from, about this part of the conversation before we get to Ramon? All right, thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, Ramon Gavarrete, Public Works Director for the county. By the way, nice facilities. I missed last year, so if you were here last year, I missed last year, so first time here, so it's a nice facility now, so appreciate that. A little clarification before I get into this about data. Unfortunately, as engineers, we have to go into the system that is put out by the state. And if historically, smaller cities sometimes have used what used to be called the short forms when it came to crashes. The long forms were basically reserved for those where you had injuries or fatalities. So a lot of the times over the years, short forms have not been put into the system. So that was part of it. Also, the DOT actually has an army of, and they're all interns up in Tallahassee, where they actually go through all the crashes, supposedly, the reports that they get, and they clarify the location. So sometimes it's a coding issue, sometimes it's not. So I'm glad that they're finally rectifying that at that intersection, because we actually access the same database the DOT has, and we were also not seeing crashes. So I'm glad they're rectifying that. So hopefully, once that's get rectified, then we can apply for a safety grant. And by the way, we do get a lot of safety grants every year. So let's hope that that is the case on that. Having said that, I did give, when I got here, this little one-page form that I hope you all have. These are I asked my staff to put together a list of the projects that are in the capital program that were adopted by the board back in '23, in May 23rd, 2023 to be exact. And I told them, give me a list and a map of all those projects that are in the CIP within the 5-mile radius of each city. So the list what you see there is the projects that are actually within 5-mile radius of the city of High Springs. This total is not on that sheet, but basically there's about $12 million worth of roadway projects in the next 5 years, plus an additional 123,000 of projects and signal-related projects in the area. And you see the list there. I also want to let you all know, you see a link in that sheet right here. It's a lot of numbers to type, but if you want, I can actually email it to you, all of you, but it's actually on the website. You can actually go into our main page for the county commission, and it's a scrolling thing. So if you get there first and you don't see it there, don't think it's not there, but if you be patient and you see it scrolling, you're gonna get to the site where you can actually click on it, and then you can actually go and select any roads you want that is highlighted there. Word of caution, some roads have 2 or 3 faces. So you might want to click more than once on that little road, because we've had instances where people click on it, and they click, and it's just a rejuvenation project, for example. And that's just a little liquid that you spray to extend a life. And then we get phone calls, how come you're not doing an overlay? And we say, we are. No, you're not. And then we go, and that's where the misunderstandings have come also. But this is the list that within 5-mile radius that are the board adopted. I know there are going to be some roads there that you might be interested in. Unfortunately, we needed 3 times as much money that we have available to be able to hit every road in the next 10 years. But the good news is that the board established the program in May of '23. There's $252 million in that 10-year period between 23 and 32, which, quite frankly, Alachua County has never spent that kind of money on roadways. So I'm excited that we are spending money now on roadways. Could it be more? Yes. In fact, I will always take any dollar people can give me to do roadways. The manager knows that. Or any grants. And we do apply for grants. We're currently applying for grants for a major roadway project that would have been in this 5-mile radius. And I'm just going to say it, 235A between US 441 South to County Road 235. That did not make the list. And there's some reasons why it did not make the list. Overall, the Board of County Commissioners adopted some parameters. Payment condition was one of them, yes. Traffic volume was another one, yes. The board also put in there areas of inequities, and then we put all this data into the program. And because of budget, the program said, okay, it will take, like, let's say, $20 million to do this road, and maybe it did not make it anywhere in the program. That could be one reason. Could be also that it was not considered like in that area of inequity, and therefore, when it came to the tiebreaker, a road that was in that area actually won over that section. So I'm just being upfront, that section is not in the program.
Would it be something your new piece of equipment might be able to address in the next few years?
That roadway commissioner is way beyond that piece of equipment.
Oh, got it. All right, well, thought I could ask.
Unfortunately, but there are sections that we might be able to use that piece of equipment. And what Commissioner Alford is referring to, the board, I think it's just last week, authorized the purchase of a 4-foot milling machine, where with maintenance forces, not through this money, not through this program, the plan is to go into some roads and actually with maintenance forces, actually mill like a 4-foot path, especially on the wheel ruts, and just pave that. Instead of patching every 6 inches a hole, we want to just go there and just mill long sections and then just pave. We're gonna start in low volume roads, because we do not want to start in a high volume road. I mean, again, my staff is also gonna be learning using that equipment. And obviously, I don't want the first project that they do to fail, so we're gonna do a low volume road first. Maybe even a parking lot first, I don't know, we haven't decided yet. We are taking possession of the machine hopefully next week. The PO has to be cut, yes, so it hasn't been cut. And then we'll take possession and start that. So that was Commissioner Alford was talking about, but we're also excited about that opportunity.
Ramon, can you list for the public that don't have a copy of this map, can you talk about the projects that we are doing?
I can. Yeah, that's sorry, High Springs, it's me. I thought I fixed that, but maybe not. But so I'm gonna read it from the computer that I know I'm looking at a tab that says High Springs.
Oh, there it is.
And by the way, that total is actually 33.4 million. So it's a lot more than what I said. So I probably just printed the wrong file. I'm sorry, I apologize about that. No, actually, it's right. These are the numbers, and I'm gonna try to be, it's a few projects. Northwest 170th Lane, from Northwest 88th Street to USS 41. That's a rehab project, $590,000 is the design, is the money. Northwest 170th Lane, then construction, which is actually a rejuvenator. That's after you do the main rehab project, you come like a year or two, and then you put this. It's gonna look pink when we first lay it, and within a few hours, it's gonna go basically away, but it's because it's absorbing to the asphalt. That's a rejuvenator. That's what we're doing. Then we're doing also County Road 2054 from 441, from 2054 to 441, that's 202, sorry, Northwest 202 Street from 2054 to 441. That's a major rehab, actually minor rehab, and it's 2.9 million, close to 3 million. It's 2,982,000 to be exact. That's the estimated amount. Northwest 110th Avenue, from State Road 45 to Northwest 234th Street, that's $3 million. And then we come back 2 years later and do a rejuvenator in that same section. Then we have, this is a big one, 235A, but this is actually not the section south of 441. 235A from Northwest 190th Avenue and County Road 236. That's $10.9 million estimated. The next one is also another section of 235A, and this is from 441 to Northwest 190th. So that section of 235 got divided in two. But we're going to try to do it both in 1 year or back to back. That is $6.6 million. And then the last project that's in the program is Northwest 182nd Avenue, and that's $9.4 million. And then the signal is actually flashing beacon at the High Springs Community School. And that's $36 million. $36,000. We're probably going to be doing that with in-house forces. With our maintenance crews, we're doing a lot of these smaller projects because the bids that we'd be getting for projects like that one project would have been closer to about $80,000 if we bid it. So we're doing a lot of these with in-house, and we can actually do them for about $20,000. So beacons and stuff like that we're doing in-house with maintenance crews also. So I can actually email the actual list and the map and the link. I can email it to your city manager, and then he can forward it to the council if you want, and that way you'll have that also. But the map is it's an interactive map. You click on the road, it'll give you data. We're also adding as we start working on the project, like construction begins or construction is completed. We're actually also putting that in there. My GIS guy is being the one taking care of all that stuff hopefully on a monthly basis when I send reports out. Although I know I missed a few months, Commissioner, I apologize. I know I missed March, but you did get April. So that's the plan so far for the city of High Springs, and I'll send the right list to your city manager. And I'm here to answer any questions. I'm going to try to answer them as best as I can. You might not like the answers, but I'll try to.
Commissioner Cornell?
So I'll be brief. 32 million over 8 years is, I think, more money than we spent in the entire county before the infrastructure sales tax over 8 years. So it's nice to see that priority being in this area. The growth of High Springs and the priority of this commission to put infrastructure dollars in this area, I think is great. I appreciate that. Last year we were here, we were talking about a situation up at the I-75. Is that dead? Okay, that's that. Okay, because that road, that's going to, that road's a pretty important road in Alachua County, 235A, and actually we can see when it's going to be done. 2028 is not too far away. That's a major project for the county to be doing. So, thank you.
Thank you. And when you list these dates here, Ramon, that's the date of actual construction. So
Those are
all
construction,
the
yes.
engineering and all the bidding and all that stuff actually starts sometimes a good bit before that. So
At least a year behind, yes.
Madam Chair,
and
I have a question. Can you tell me about the Rejuvenator? How much of an extension of life do you get on these roadways with an application like that?
Depending on the traffic and the weather, it could be anywhere between 5 to 8 years. So
pretty
instead
good
of having
ROI.
to come back and do like an overlay, like in the 15th year, you can wait another 5 to 8 years. But the plan is actually, Lord willing, the infrastructure surtax would get extended, and then you can apply another code and keep extending the life a little bit at a time.
it's an amazing new product.
Yeah.
It's really changing how we plan and do roads.
That's great.
We laid it on
Right,
And getting
right.
5
I'm looking
more
at the
years.
cost differential, and that's amazing. Yeah.
What was interesting, Commissioners, is the first section that we did that, it was pink. You would not believe the amount of phone calls we got. Why are you doing pink asphalt? Yeah, it's pink when it comes out of the truck. Just 30 minutes. I mean, depending on how sunny it is outside, it bakes pretty fast.
The public are very responsive, though.
Yeah. And also as information, to date, again, the board adopted this program in May of 23. That was already 8 months into the fiscal year of 23. To date, since then, we have done about $4 million worth of projects that have been completed. There is another $32 million worth of projects to hit the roads, including Northwest 23rd Avenue, which I'm sure even people that live in High Springs, I'm sure they use that road too. That actually started construction Monday night of this week. So I strongly recommend not going there at night. So we already got the first phone call about the beep, beep, beep of the trucks, by the way. I cannot sleep at night. Well, it's either that or do the project during the day, and that'll be even worse for traffic and everybody else. So, there's a lot of work that is about to start on on the roadways around the county.
And just to remind the public, we, all of these roads were picked dispassionately. We did not go through and say, well, we think we should do that, not that. It was all done with a computer program, with ranking systems, and we let the computer decide.
Well, Madam Chair, if I
Sure.
might, I mean, I
Oh,
think
well, there
that's,
were, I'm sorry,
I think
you're
that's
right.
being, I guess my point is, I think that's being a little, I mean, I think it was, they drove every single mile of every single road in our
They
county
did. They
and gave it a
ranked them
grade,
all.
and so
Right.
it was based on data from on the
That's
ground
my-
as
that's-
well as
yes,
as well as a
exactly.
model. I just didn't
Well,
want people to think we
No,
just.
it wasn't just the model, but
Yeah.
that was my point. Yeah, we put the data into the model and let the model decide. And yes, they did travel every single mile of road and grade it so that when we did this, it was hard. This was one of the harder things that we did on the commission was try to figure out the best way to, and the fairest way to do these roads. And it's been hard, but hopefully we'll, continue forward and get them all done eventually. But we were way behind, I will tell you that. Way
Commissioner,
behind.
we selected the best year to drive the roads. That was 2020. We all know everything, what happened in 2020. We hardly had any traffic on the roadways. So it was very good to actually drive the roads during that year. We actually saved money with a consultant doing that because they did not charge everything they could have charged. But yes, we drove every road, even the residential roads around the county. And the plan is to do them again. I don't think it's worth doing it every year, maybe on the 5-year mark, maybe even more than that, because again, we're doing projects now. So that is the plan, because you do need to keep that data up to date, as much as up to date as you want. So again, any other questions, I'm here to answer them.
Any questions from the commission?
I just want to say thank you for 235A. I wish you can get to it sooner. I'm serious.
We all do.
We all do.
And on that road, you're going to ride in the center lane. You kind of move over.
Yeah, we've created new lanes, haven't we?
Now, what I'm gonna ask though, once we do them, I don't wanna get phone calls the first day about speeding. Because that's what has happened already. Every road that we have paved, the next day, people are speeding. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, any further comments from our board? Are there any, would the public like to speak to roads?
Don't go too far, because I got a question. My name's Rick Testa. I live here in High Springs, and I wanted to, first of all, I don't know if any of you were on the commission when this took place a few years ago. Commissioner Williams was, but it took the city at one time 13 years to get a couple of roads chip and sealed here in town. And I was living here at the time and was one of the squeaky wheels. We ended up with a commissioner named Larry Travis, and he went to the county and sort of begged, borrowed, and steal to try to get some chip and seal out of y'all. And unfortunately, we lost Larry Travis, but then we ended up with a new city manager named Ed Booth. Do y'all, any of y'all remember this? I think it was around 9 years ago, maybe, something like that. So first of all, after all these years, you all just don't know how, I mean, that transformed High Springs because it was 3 miles of road near where I live, which isn't a big deal, but Mrs. Weller, how long is 222? How many miles is that?
2.5 miles.
So it's only maybe 8 miles of road, but overnight it went from, cow path to a paved road. What I wanted to make a point of with the new commissioners, we have a bunch of new commissioners and a new city manager, is I learned something during that 13 years. The reason it took that long was because the commissioners thought paving roads was expensive. And it is if you pave roads, correct? $1 million a mile? More now, huh?
A lot more.
But what Larry Travis did was he burrowed in, and what the new city manager did, they found out that if you chip and seal, it's considered maintenance. It dropped all the engineering costs off of putting the roads down. So is that still the case?
Yeah, but it's not the engineering part.
It drops the price way down, but by the commissioner and the new city manager working with the county, it was like, manna from heaven. I mean, overnight we had 8 miles of road chip and sealed. But for you new commissioners, now those chip and seal roads, 222 especially, is getting toward the end of its life expectancy. And if you can get the county to coat it, it's really cheap to coat over them. But thank you, commissioners, for that. And you all keep that in mind, because you can get some roads paved cheap.
Get what you pay for.
Julie Tapia Ruano, citizen of High Springs. I was also a citizen of Alachua on Peggy Road 2054 for 14 years before we moved over here, 15 years. Total of 30 years in the area. 5 children at Santa Fe High School. You're talking about the 235A north of 441. Is there anything in the works to put a turn lane or an exit lane? Maybe you have to communicate with the school board to help the outflow of traffic at the end of the day. As a parent of 5 children, I have spent hundreds of personal hours in that left turn lane with everyone trying to exit the school to turn left on 235A, then to get to 441. Maybe there's a way you can work with the school board and get a new egress in or out towards 441 or around the back somehow. But that really needs to be addressed as a traffic problem on 235A as you're going forward with this project. Also, I benefit from that chip seal road. I live on 154th Place, which comes off from 222nd. This is a scenic road, has been designated in the past, and we want to make sure we keep that road scenic. And we do love our chip seal, but it is marring in different patches and things. Bridalwood, our 2,100 unit subdivision, wants to cut into that road in 1 or 2 places. And we may not be able to fight the plat at this point, but if we can redirect the traffic off from 222, maintain our scenic tree canopy road, that would be beneficial as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. Tapia Ruano. Okay.
Sue Weller, and High Springs, resident High Springs. I have a question on the resurfacing I guess it's Southwest 15th Avenue to US 441. In the document, it says you're going to resurface 3.3 miles. So is the Southwest 15th Avenue in Newberry that you're talking about? Because it's like 18 or 20 miles from that point to 441. Is this just spot resurfacing 27?
Not sure which one.
On the transportation, the road resurfacing, repaving, this says 3.3, and I think he said 3.3 miles of resurfacing. So you're not
From 100
resurfacing the whole 27 from Newberry to 441 evidently.
Well, if I may,
Yes.
Ramon Gabarrete, Public Works Director, what she has in her hand is actually the plan from DOT. So this is
I see.
DOT's
The
plan, not
DOT
the county's
plan.
plan.
I see.
Okay, so
So
is
I'll
that
be,
person that was here that was talking about it?
he's
not here?
also from the county, and he was just reading from the plan, but
okay.
if you,
I
but,
guess it isn't in Newberry, it's actually just 3 miles south of High Springs.
yeah.
So 15th is the old,
I'll have to look
The
at
numbers?
what they were
Yeah.
calling, and maybe they missed the northwest and the southwest.
okay, all right. 'Cause it's like 18 miles from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Weller, for pointing that out. Any further public discussion on roads? Okay. Any further commission comment on roads or response? All right, well, we will move on to general public comment. So if you would like to address the county commission, hi, oh, is this the youth, yes.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
You tell us who you are, it's exciting.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Leela Seeley, and I'm on the High Springs Youth Council. I go to Santa Fe High School, and I'm going to be a senior next year. But I'm super happy to be on the council, and I'm excited to see what we'll do.
I'm Anna Weitz. I'm the vice chair. To kind of give you an idea of what we've done so far, we haven't had a meeting in a second because there's been some stuff with us not being around. But a lot of our plans are about the environment, because obviously High Springs has a ton of springs and rivers. So we organized a cleanup with Santa Fe's Environmental Club and Newberry's Environmental Club. So that's something we've already done. We have an Instagram page set up, and we're planning on posting that even more. But we definitely have a lot of plans, so we just want to let you guys know about that.
Amazing.
My name is Camden Treese. I'm the chair of the Mayor's Youth Council. And like Anna said, yeah, we have a lot planned and we've already done a lot. That Springs cleanup was really successful. Both schools really enjoyed it. They had a good time. And we made a difference. And that's important. And that's what we strive to do throughout the rest of the time we have on the board.
Excellent. I'm going to give you guys an applause. That's amazing.
Madam Chair, if I might.
Yes, please.
This is awesome. We've talked a lot about how we get youth involved in local government, so it's really exciting to see how you all have done that, and I just really appreciate your energy and enthusiasm. Thank you.
David Lynch, L-I-N-C-H. I gave each person a piece of paper. Let's read it together. The World Health Organization, United Nations, estimates that alcoholic beverages kill 8,000 people each day and account for 5% of the world's disease burden. This is from your website, What's Good, Alachua County. Blackadder Brewing Company is a 3.5 BBL microbrewery in Gainesville, Florida, providing 40 taps in a cozy pub atmosphere. Taps include ciders, wines, and natural sodas. Daft Cow Brewing Company, opening its doors in 2022, Alachua County's newest brewery, is also the city of Alachua's first craft brewery. So when you advertise a brewery on your website, you are promoting a product that kills 8,000 people each day. You are pursuing a course of action that is directly contrary to the interest of your constituents. I ask that at least one county commissioner explain to me why you are doing this.
We've been having a back and forth with the other folks that have come to the mic, so I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'll respond. If you are insisting on a response, I guess what I would say is that while I hear you, and many people feel that alcohol is an unsafe substance, period, many people find it to be something that they use socially and that they make good decisions around, and it's a part of the cultural fabric of all of communities across our entire globe. And I think those breweries are trying hard to create social spaces where people can gather, enjoy each other, get to know each other. They're not forcing anyone to drink. Most of them offer non-alcoholic beverages as well. And they are an important part of our community's economic development fabric and a part of our community's sort of opportunities for gathering at a watering hole. And it's, since times way past, all the way back as far as we could think of in history. Even Jesus turned water into wine, so in the Bible. So, I think, alcohol is a part of our culture. It's a part of who we are. And I understand what you're saying. I've had alcoholics in my life, and I've seen the damage it can do to people. But I do think that we also need to understand that people can drink it responsibly. And there's nothing wrong with somebody making the decision to start a locally owned business to support our community's goals of gathering and having fun spaces to enjoy and celebrate. That's my comment.
Any further commission comment? Your point is heard, sir. And I appreciate the fact that you brought it here. It does give us pause in how we present this information. So thank you.
Moving on to another subject, I'd like to ask the commissioners how they feel about all the growth that is taking place. Do they feel the population pressure? I feel it.
Yes. If only we could lock the gates on the state, but unfortunately we have not been allowed to do such a thing. Do we have any further public comment? All right. Thank you, all of you that came and spoke today. Now we'll take some county commission comment. Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you. I have a lot to thank High Springs for. I'm excited to watch what's happening with the Priest Theater. We've been working on that one for a while, trying to decide what to do, not to do, when all that. So it's really nice to see the courage of the community take it on, and I appreciate that because there's so few iconic places left in Alachua County that we can feel like we can claim kin to, and the Priest is one of them. It's interesting to me that the response from Jordan Marlowe was a negative one to the Rails to the Trails, because when I talked to him about it, we were talking about even maybe putting in a dinner car.
His commission.
Oh, it was his, okay, well,
And this was a
that's
while ago.
different then. Okay, that's because I heard Jordan mentioned it. Okay, well, because I know that we talked about a rail car that would have a dinner, and a dinner car. Okay, so I'm excited about that we're still working, and the canoe outpost, shoot, you could use that building there as a clubhouse for these kids who are here, if nothing else, a meeting space, for, or fish and game, maybe you need an outpost or something if you need a renter, if it becomes an issue. But, the peanut factory, I haven't had a chance to get there. A friend from the community there offered me a chance to go do a tour of that. That's another exciting, star in your crown. Guys, this town is really building up as a real interesting destination for tourism. These are kind of people who would actually come in and then leave their money and then go home. That's kind of what the gentleman was talking about here, is having folks who would come in. The Wall Dogs was, as an art teacher, a former art teacher, I gotta say that was an exciting event. That you all were able to pull that off in this little community was a major coup. And I still enjoy seeing the paintings around, and the memory of watching the community come together and invite the world here. It was pretty exciting for this little community. So, ThemeWorks, these are places in High Springs that not many people know about, and I'm sure there are other groups that are working here too in a real unique place, or providing a unique opportunity for people to come see things they've never seen before. So, the dive shop, the dive folks, the industry that you have here building around cave diving and springs diving, pretty amazing. So you all have got all the ingredients to put together an amazing destination place. So, and the library, we are on that board as we were talking. I don't know what the status, if our legal teams have made it a complete deal yet, that the library is going to be turning over the property that's right next to the Priest. So I don't know if the status, if that's actually been done or not, but. Pardon?
That's our property, we found out.
It's your problem?
No, it's our property.
Oh, it is your property. Okay, so we've got it worked out, so.
Title work and deed it out right now, and it's
Okay,
up to us.
okay, so it's not your problem, it's your property. See, that's what happens with.
Which could actually make it our problem.
Hopefully.
To do it very simply.
Hopefully not, but I just wanted to say that it's real exciting to be a part of the team, watching you all do this and trying to help. So you new commissioners, you new city manager, I'm your girl. So I'll make sure you have a card before I leave, to do what I can, to make sure you all have what your needs are heard, at least, at the county. So thank you, Madam Chair and Madam Mayor and Commissioners. It's been exciting to watch all this happen.
Commissioner Cornell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. So, to Mr. Lynch's point, I'm in the middle of my third term, and what keeps me up at night is really the growth coming into the state, and how do we deal with that growth? At the county, we've adopted impact fees so that our existing citizens are not having to pay for the impact of the new folks coming in. I think it's the fairest way to do it, and even that may not be able to keep up with the level of growth that we're seeing. So I would encourage y'all, as you're kind of looking at your growth, I know you have some new commissioners and a new city manager. Please lean on the county, lean on us. We're here for you to act as a resource, whether that's data and analysis or, what do you do, what do you all do? And we're here to help you. And I would encourage you to lean on us for that. I turned 56 this year, so I had my annual checkup yesterday. So you all are going to get to hear what I was going to tell my county commissioners on Tuesday, because my doctor suggested that I watch a show, a Netflix documentary. And it's really short. There's, I think, 5 episodes, 30 minutes long. Because she asked, what do you do? I said, I'm one of your county commissioners. She says, I need you. So she gave me homework. She said, I need you to do this for your health, but more importantly, for the health of the community. So last night, from 9 to 11:30, I watched the Netflix documentary called Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zone.
Yep.
Yeah, perhaps you've heard it. I had heard of it, but I'd never been told by my doctor that I had to watch it. So I did that, and and in there's a couple of cities that really have adopted that philosophy and that approach. And as I was watching it, I was thinking about High Springs. And I think you would be an amazing community to maybe not adopt everything that's in that documentary, but at least think about that. It's really involving getting your citizens and community with regards to health. And there's a lot of research about areas that have centurions and higher numbers of centurions than others. And being born and raised here, I would like our commission, if you haven't watched it, to watch it. And perhaps when we get past our budget cycle and we get into a strategic plan kind of retreat, we can talk about some of the things in there. Okay. And thank you all for having us. This is always one of my favorite meetings. I love to see our manager at this meeting, and she seems to always be at the High Springs meetings, which is pretty awesome. So please, Mr. Marshall, get close to Michelle. She's been at the county for 10 years and has a lot of history and is a resource to you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you all for having us. It's exciting to see some new faces. I was new not that long ago myself and have learned a lot since I've been up here and really enjoyed my time. And one of the things I think that both Mary and I, as the newest folks up here, I think prided ourselves on was trying to have better relationships with our small municipalities and trying to find ways that we can collaborate and we can work together to do interesting things and to support you all in your efforts to develop your communities in the way that you see fit, but also thinking about how you become a part of the fabric of Alachua County and what our whole community values. So I really appreciate working with you all. Happy to be here. I would echo the impact fees comment that Commissioner Cornell made. I think they help people pay their fair share of development, and you all we're seeing the massive amount of growth between Alachua and you all, and know it's coming, and it's one of the only ways that it helps pays for itself, and also maybe is an opportunity for you to have that conversation. The other thing I would talk about a little bit is a lot of the work that we're doing around water quality, and maybe at our next joint meeting, or in the meantime, reaching out to our Environmental Protection Department. And I was going to mention it to the Youth Council, but they had to duck out. But we have a really amazing Environmental Protection Department, and we're one of the only counties in the state that has one. And they're doing really, really great work around water quality and water quantity. And I'm sure that they would love to collaborate with that Youth Council around the projects they're trying to do for the Springs and around some of the ordinances that we have that maybe would be interesting for you all to adopt similarly if you're interested, that focus on water quality and water quantity conservation. So I just wanted to mention that and say thank you all. And thank you to everyone who came out today to talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for having us today. I enjoyed listening to your concerns and look forward to working with the City of High Springs to address those concerns. I remember coming some years ago, the citizen came to talk to us about, I think it was County Road 236, and we did address that. So, government is a little slow, but we do try to get there and try to get things done. But funding is always a big issue. So So we look forward to working with the city in the future in terms of addressing some of those concerns we heard tonight. So thank you all for having us.
I will echo all the things that my fellow commissioners said up here. I was born and raised in Alachua County, and to me, High Springs is like equivalent to summer vacation. I don't know how many hours I spent with my kids going to all the parks, state parks and springs in this area, and it almost always involves stopping at High Springs and grabbing something to eat afterwards. So in my mind, coming to High Springs is like a little vacation every time I come here. So because it just reminds me of my childhood and all of those times. I always thought I'd want to live here, but I ended up in Archer, dang it. So maybe one day. But again, thank you all for coming, and we'll move on to comment from you guys.
I just would like to piggyback on what everyone said about the Children's Trust. They have really made a difference in Alachua County. In High Springs, a lot of our youth programs that we have here in High Springs could not have been done without the Children's Trust. So they have made a big impact here in High Springs. I know all the employees are waiting to hear who is my employee of the week. This person, he captures every moment in High Springs, and I know he probably doesn't think that I'm going to be having him as employee of the week, but this week our PIO officer, Mr. Kevin. Thank you.
First, I want to say thank y'all for coming to meet with us on tonight. I am the senior, sitting up here, Chuck and I. I'm going to throw you in here too. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening to us. Over my past 19 years, we didn't always have that here in this community. From the depth of my heart, I want to say thank you all for listening to us. Not only listening to us, but having a dialogue with us to address the concerns that we have here in the state of High Springs. Again, I say, in time past, and something about none of the best, we didn't have that. And I really want to say thank you, because it does make a difference for the citizens of High Springs. We are a part of Alachua County. Absolutely. And I want to say thank y'all for being who you are and listening to us. Thank you. And it did take a long time for 236, but we got it. I wish we had to put a bike lane there, but we ain't going to mess with that.
And Commissioner, can I say thank you to co-chairing the work that we're doing at the school board with workforce for our teens. That's really important work. Not everyone's going to college, and the focus of the jobs that the school board is working on and those subcommittees, and you stepping up to be vice chair with that, I really appreciate it. Shows real leadership. I don't know if your citizens know all the time you spent working on that, and we'll continue to work on that, and that's really important. Thank you.
You're welcome. So a joy to work on that committee. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks, everybody. It was fun. No, the only thing I'd like to ask about is, for us, we had talked previously about expanding our CRA, and we put a little money into it as a city, and it's kind of fallen apart. Not fallen apart, but had a little hole to it. And I was wondering where we're at with that, because our CRAs, I feel like we finally got our stuff together. We're finally where we need to be. We've got Amy over there who's killing it right now, and I feel like we got a lot of good things that are happening there, and I think expanding it a little bit is kind of right where we need to be right now, and I don't want to lose that because there's only a finite amount of time before we lose the investment that we put into it. So I was just wondering if there's anything, or if I can get an update later, or an email, or just something about kind of where we're at with that, because it would be great to kind of see.
Okay. Madam Manager?
Yes, Madam Chair, Madam Mayor. We do have Mr. McClendon here. I don't know if he has anything to potentially add to where we're at with that, or what is lacking, or what we need to be done to move that along. We have had some discussions, so he may have a brief update for you.
Yes, please.
Commissioners Shumplin,
Alachua County, very pleased to be here tonight. I think since we've had a renewal of leadership in the city of High Springs, one of the first things that I would like to ask is that leadership come together and talk about the parameters around the CRA and the potential expansion. Once we have a meeting of the minds, we can talk about some of the more of the details. But we've been working closely with our colleagues in the CRA, and we're very pleased with the direction you're headed, and we look forward to supporting you as you develop the CRA in the community. So,
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. McClendon.
And I'll like to jump on the impact fee thing. I was proud when I first got on here. One of the first things we did in one of my, I think it was my third or fourth meeting, was raise those impact fees because it's pay to play. And we wanted to go that same direction to really prevent the citizens from having to burden that growth, especially with Bridlewood getting in before I was elected in. But, you know, with them coming here, we all know you can't close the door behind you. And having grown up in this town, I've seen it too many times where the last one in wants to be the last one in. And, you know, it just doesn't work like that. So, no, we've addressed those impact fees, and they are, because I mean, you all know we were the lowest in the county for probably a long time, way too long. And so now we've got some, I'm proud of our impact fees because we've got Parks and Rec on there too. So we've got some extra ones that some other places don't have to really, you know, help us out and whatnot. And I don't know, High Springs, I feel like with Mr. Marshall, we're moving in the right direction. So I'm proud to be sitting here with the leadership we now have. So we're very happy with where we're at, and thank you all for supporting us.
I don't have too much more. I appreciate you all for being here. I can share with you that the Youth Council, since they ducked right on out of here, I guess they had somewhere to be. They've been working with the city manager on getting some grants for different things. They've got some pretty unique ideas. And one of the first things they did was meet with the new director at the Springs Institute to talk to them about what can we do. Because without our springs, without our waterways, and they went right to the high schools and plugged right into the environmental clubs there, and they got the kids on board. And their enthusiasm it's just infectious. And to see them up here having their meetings, and Jamie over there, our assistant city clerk, keeps them in line, and that's not easy. But they're so excited to be here, and you know they have all kinds of ideas. And Mr. Marshall has been looking for grant funding aplenty in every direction he possibly can, and we are just beyond lucky to have him here. And I would love for you all to meet him and get to know him and support what he's doing, because he's hit the ground running. And thank you for coming to our little corner of the world. We kind of like it here.
Yeah, thank you.
And Madam Mayor, can I, before we close, can I also, first of all, thank all of you all. This seems like a really good board, and it seems like we have a good working relationship. To your citizens, I will tell you that your mayor is the most frequent mayor in the county chambers when issues come up that I've seen, and I want to thank you for doing that, because I know it may not be a lot, but having High Springs represented during county commission meetings is important, and I've noticed it, I recognize it, and I appreciate it. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
I neglected also to introduce our new fire chief. Chief Peters is here. He's been here for a few weeks, a couple months, and he's
So you
doing a
guys are
great
getting
job.
lots of turnover. New city manager, new fire
We are.
chief, new parks
We
and
are.
rec. I mean, that's
It's-
new commissioner. New
we're,
commissioners.
we're,
That's,
we're getting a lot of new energy, and it's
amazing.
but you can see the impact on employees' faces. I ran into somebody not too long ago who ran into our public works, or our building official, who was smiling from ear to ear, and he stopped him and he said, you know, what's up? I just got out of a staff meeting. And they're that excited when they have staff meetings, because they're that productive. So the staff is just amazing, and we're incredibly grateful to all of the people who work here, and obviously our employee of the week, Kevin, keeps it all out there. So thank you guys for coming.
No, thank you. And I guess we'll together adjourn the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you all.